Namaste everyone. Good evening. Welcome back to our very well attended, very well looked upon program, which the India Expo Mart is hosting every Saturday between 5 to 6:30. So this is a series of webinars which India Expo Mart is organizing. I'm very happy to invite three such excellent panelists who are present today. And we also have Sri Vivek Vikasji, who is the director of India Expo Mart, present here today to give the introductory remarks. So, and all of you who have been regularly participating in this webinar, which has been one of the most successful webinars as far as India Expo Mart is concerned. India Expo Mart is responsible for bringing this integrative approach in healthcare in the form of one of the biggest expositions which was held last year called World Assembly of Ayurveda, Yoga and Naturopathy. It's also termed as Ayuryog in short for better understanding. And Rakesh Kumarji, who is the chairman of India Expo Mart, who is instrumental in introducing this whole concept of bringing Indian systems of medicine, particularly Ayurveda, Yoga and Naturopathy together and bringing all the people concerned with this system together. So as I mentioned, this was the first of its kind expo, and the attempt was to bring all the practitioners, stakeholders, health seekers, and industry on one platform. And the first edition was organized at India Expo Center and Mart, Greater Noida in November 2019. It was proved to be the biggest platform for the domain of Ayurveda, Yoga, and Naturopathy. Today, we are honored that the head of Ayuryog Steering Committee and Director of India Exposition Mart Limited, Sri Vivek Vikasji is with us. I request Vivekji to present the welcome note.
Dr. Manjunathji, Namaskar to all dignitaries and participants. It is a pleasure to have such eminent members on our panel for the 12th webinar of Ayuryog Expo, a World Assembly on Ayurveda, Yoga and Naturopathy. Today we have with us Professor Dr. Vidula Gujarwar, Principal Director, Chaudhary Brahm Prakash Ayurved Chark Sanstha, Delhi. This center is now treating corona patients. Dr. Neeraj Patil, he is doctor and ex-mayor of London. He defeated COVID-19. Mrs. Sunita Nair from Vancouver, Canada, a yoga teacher who became corona positive, came out of it successfully with yoga and meditation. And the moderator of this webinar is Dr. N.K. Manjunathji, Head Anvesana Research Laboratories at S. Vyasa. He is also member of Ayuryog Steering Committee. The idea of Ayuryog Expo was conceived by Guruji, Dr. H.R. Nagendra, and our chairman, Rakesh Kumar. It was executed at India Exposition Mart Limited at the international level to benefit the mankind under Guruji's blessings and guidance. In 2019, the first edition of Ayuryog Expo received humongous participation from Ayush industry. In fact, the international footfall was more than 1,000, which is a huge number for the Ayush exhibition sector. This time in 2020, Ayuryog Expo will be held in October. Today's topic is Experiencing Corona, an Inside Story. We have to fight this pandemic, and I think all the three guests of today have enough experience regarding this to share. With my best wishes, let us start with the webinar.
Thank you, Vivek ji. That's an amazing introduction because, as you rightly said, we have two important aspects being brought together in today's webinar. One is the pandemic, which is actually really creating the kind of problem across the globe. On the other side, the role and importance of our own Indian traditional systems of medicine. So we try to bring these 2 points together to make an understanding of the importance of Indian systems of medicine in the prevention and management, as well as the true experience of people who have been actually either in the front line or those who have gone through this experience. So that's the reason we have 3 such eminent panelists. Let me introduce a little more in detail about our panelists. So we have Dr. Neeraj Patil. Dr. Neeraj Patil is a doctor of Indian origin. So he served as the mayor of the London Borough of Lambeth from 2010 to 2011. He is also a member of Labour Party. He was the borough's first mayor of Asian origin. He is a consultant in accident and emergency at Worthing Hospital and was a member of Quash campaign to save the emergency services at the Worthing General Hospital. So, well, he has served at various renowned hospitals across UK apart from this. Particularly, Dr. Neeraj Patil, I remember your other contributions other than medicine, which is very well known to everybody. So you have the distinction of erecting the statue of the greatest philosopher of the millennium, Basaveshwara, in front of the British Parliament. And it is well known today as Lambeth Basaveshwara. And we all remember Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji unveiling the same. And you have served several patients who have suffered from corona in UK. You have shared several educative videos during this time while at work serving these corona patients. And we are really happy and grateful to have your time and happy to listen to your experience today. So I invite Dr. Neeraj Patil first to give his personal experience on this whole journey of experiencing corona. Dr. Neeraj Patil.
Thank you very much, Manjunath ji, for that introduction. And I would like to thank the India Expo for organizing this wonderful event. I have the special thanks to Vivek Vikas ji, and I would like to also thank Tushar Gupta ji. I would like to also, it's a great honor to share dais with Mrs. Sunita Nair from Canada, who has her wonderful experience to share with us, and also Dr. Vidula, who is one of the eminent Ayurvedic doctors of India. Let me tell you briefly about myself. I was not mayor of whole London, but I was mayor of a district in London in 2010, 2011, and then yes, I'm a doctor come politicians, but these days I'm more a doctor than a politician. So I'm while working in emergency department. The thing is, I think something went wrong. Maybe something to do with the PPE deficiency, and because I would not like to blame, but when the pandemic initially started in UK, there was a deficiency of PPE equipments, which were only supplied to doctors if they were treating corona positive patients, but whereas corona suspected patients were treated with not a full PPE but a half PPE. So somewhere I got that infection, and I remember I started getting mild body aches. It started with mild body aches, tiredness, and then I usually do a bit of jogging and running, and I could not do that. Then I thought maybe I might have caught a flu. Then when the fevers started, then I realized, yes, it looks like I may have a COVID-19. Then I got my first swab done, and then the second swab done. The second swab was positive. And then when I came to know that I have COVID-19 illness, let me tell you, I was very shocked. I felt like as though, oh, I'm going to die. Yeah, because I used to get lots of fevers, and I used to take paracetamols to control those fevers. And my friends, of course, my friends, doctor colleagues used to guide me. And it was a strange experience, because being a doctor as well as somebody who knows everybody in the doctor community who is treating COVID-19 illness, and I used to um, exchange my symptoms with them. And then luckily what happened is I was able to have a good quarantine without infecting my family, because I had an ensuite room. I came home and I went into an ensuite room, and then for 14 days I was in that ensuite room, and my wife and my children used to cook food and leave food outside, and then I used to take the food inside. So that's one thing. And then of course, I sometimes wonder how many people can really afford an ensuite room. That is again something I think. And I had access to internet, I had access to WhatsApp, TV, Netflix. I managed to spend time. And during this time, one thing I realized is I spoke to Manjunath ji as well as Guruji, and I could see, the thing is, COVID-19 as such, corona illness is unlikely to kill you until and unless you develop a pneumonia. The way COVID-19 affects and kills someone is you develop a pneumonia. That pneumonia will lead to a further complication, which we call it as ARDS, which is when you have a pneumonia, you get fluid collection in the lung. When you have fluid collection in the lung, then your lungs become stiff and you're not able to breathe, and you may need a ventilator. If you have to be put on a ventilator, you have to be made unconscious. So that's the way the disease progresses. So I realized that the only way I could prevent pneumonia was by bringing the sputum out. And I must thank Manjunath ji and Guruji for their advice, because they taught me a wonderful pranayama. And I want to tell everyone that this pranayama, which was taught by Guruji and Manjunath ji, really helped me to come out of this COVID-19 illness. The thing is, if you have a corona, you have, you cough. Initially, it's a dry cough. Later on, you will also get secretions. As long as you make sure those secretions don't accumulate in your lung, you're fine. So what Manjunath ji and Guruji told me was a pranayama called Kumbhaka. Kumbhaka is a very simple pranayama. You take a deep breath and hold your breath for 30 seconds. And then when you're holding your breath for 30 seconds, all the sputum is coming out of your alveoli and getting collected in a basket. And then you bring the entire sputum out. So if you practice this Kumbhakam, I'm confident that you will not develop a pneumonia and the chance of dying goes down. And second thing is, of course, I took antibiotics. I ate well, I drank well, and I took simple antibiotics, amoxicillin and clarithromycin. And then I made a full recovery. And now I'm back at work again. I have antibodies. So let me end my my speech with a positive note. People often have a misconception in which, including myself, I had a misconception when someone told me you have a corona. Oh, then I thought I'm going to die, because you look at media, you look at internet, you go anywhere in the world now, it's only COVID-19. The thing is, the moment you tell anybody that you have COVID-19, the first thing that strikes their mind is, are they going to die? But let me tell you, friends, 50% of the people who have died of COVID-19 illness throughout the world are 80 years plus. And remaining 40% of the people who have died of COVID-19 illness are between the age of 61 and 79. And only 2 to 3% of the people who develop COVID-19 illness become seriously ill with the risk of death. So there is a lot of optimism to share that if you are under 50, if you are healthy, if you're eating a healthy diet and you are taking regular exercises, it's unlikely that if you are affected by corona, you are going to develop a serious illness or you're going to die. So with that optimistic note, I want to say that please, 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 the thing is, yes, I experienced a corona illness like Mrs. Sunita Nair. The thing is, you don't have to lose faith in yourself, and always remember that one must have faith. And Dr. Manjunath ji told me a very important thing when I was ill. He said that during this illness, he said, if you want to be positive, you must follow the Panchaklesha, which is taught by Patanjali, which is one must not have avidya, asmitya, raga, dvesha, and abhinavesha, which is fear of death. So with this, I want to say one thing: have faith in God. And if you develop corona illness, it's not end of the world. It is very much a curable, a treatable disease. Thank you.
Wonderful, Dr. Patil. There were two aspects which were very important from your talk. Number one, the doctor of you. So you made many things clear. You removed so many misconceptions to give that kind of a confidence to the society and people who are participating today, that the fear of death need not be there so strongly, because up to little more than 90% of the deaths today are in the elderly. So, and also the very small population is affected when you are well fed, have good lifestyle, and you have maintained yourself as per the requirements. And the second part is about the illness. So you have seen patients. So you were seeing patients, and suddenly one fine day, when you became a positive patient. So what was that 1 minute, one thought which you got? Because till today, till this minute, I was a doctor treating, and now I have become a patient. So what was that experience, that one flash of experience you had?
The thing is, I have to say, my pride was hurt, because as doctors, we sometimes think that, we are the people who treat patients. We are unlikely to get, and you don't realize that how vulnerable you are yourself as a doctor. And it was a strange feeling, because when a doctor becomes a patient, I must say he should behave like a patient. You must not behave like a doctor. So the thing is, when I was a patient, I always sought advice from other people like Manjunath ji, Guru ji, or my other doctor colleagues. I never, one of the things is, if you are a doctor and if you become a patient, remember you are a patient, you are not a doctor.
Wonderful, very well said. That's what it is always said, that when we take up yoga and any other course of study, you may be a professor and teacher, but if you take up any learning process, so you have to become a student.
Exactly.
So then only the learning process will be complete. Similarly, a doctor, if you become a patient, please respect the terminology of being a patient and do all that what is needed. Wonderful. I'll get back to you, Dr. Patil. So when we heard from one doctor from UK talking about how conventional medicine and the line of treatment given by as prescribed in the world, along with a few techniques of yoga, have helped him to come out of it. We have Dr. Vidula from India, from New Delhi. So she was another frontline worker handling corona patients, but the difference was she was one of those very few people, opportunistic, and somebody who had got was blessed that way as an Indian medicine doctor to handle corona patients, had the opportunity to treat patients. So just to give you a very brief about Dr. Vidula, as Vikasti mentioned, Dr. Vidula Gujawar is a professor and head of department at Rognidan at Chaudhary Brahm Prakash Ayurved Charak Samsthan, which is an autonomous Ayurvedic medical college and hospital under government of New Delhi. Dr. Vidula, though an Ayurveda physician and a researcher by profession, she has integrated various natural healing methods to her practice. She has introduced music therapy, probiotics, yoga, and several other complementary systems to her practice. Dr. Vidula has the distinction of handling more than 100 patients and treating them successfully through Ayurveda and integrative lifestyle without any conventional medical help. And she has also has the distinction of converting it into a sort of a clinical trial. And what we lack in Indian medicine is documentation. And I'm so happy to note that Dr. Vidula has done a wonderful documentation of her experience. So it's our privilege to listen to Dr. Vidula about the whole process, how it has manifested, and she has converted it into an opportunity for Indian medicine. Dr. Vidula, please.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for the very first opportunity to call me and invite me for this seminar. And thank you very much, Dr. Manjunathji and the team, Mr. Vikasji, to listen to me for this session today. As you have told that Chaudhary Brahm Prakash Ayurveda Charak Samsthan is a autonomous Ayurveda institute under government of Delhi, and we are teaching here for graduate and postgraduate levels, and we have the biggest hospital of Ayurveda in Asia, having 270 beds of purely Ayurvedic medicine and Ayurvedic treatments. I am happy to share that this hospital is working, is established in a very remote part of Delhi, that is near Haryana border, and it is really very difficult to reach. It is not in central Delhi, not privileged with many services like any city has, but still, due to the power of Ayurveda, I would say every day there is the presence of more than 2,000 people in the OPDs, 22 OPDs of Ayurveda of this hospital to get the treatment. And patients are not only from Delhi, they are from all the states of India. So this is what about the institute. Now I am heading this institute as director principal since last 2 years. And we have tried since then. Before that, I was taking care of this institute as medical superintendent. Before that, I was additional director. So likewise, I have worked on all the phases of this institute. And what I thought as a professor, as a teacher, that every student of mine must feel that Ayurveda is no less than any other pathy, or whatever there is a small confusion in the mind of students or any person that can I do this? So every opportunity of such difficult task, whenever it has come, I have accepted it by taking the my feet front, and then doing to the level best I could do. So it was all, I would say that the opportunity of COVID, in working in COVID area also was taken by me, not only for my colleagues. It was taken basically for students of my institute, that I want to teach them that you can work in every path if you decide to, and you can have the success also. And I want to tell the world also that, see, alternative medicines have the power to penetrate in the deeper elements, like, and the novel elements like corona also. And so when Delhi government has sent us the order on 6th of April that your center has been acquired as a corona health center, everyone was my team was a little bit uh, scared that how it will be possible. Many of the surrounding villagers have come. They met me that, madam, aisa mat kariye, don't call them here, we will get corona and it will be very difficult and everybody will die and all that. So under a tremendous pressure of uh, no tremendous pressure of a no, I decided to make it a yes. And then I went to attend the meeting, and I told the Honorable Health Minister of Delhi, Shri Satyendra Jain sir, who happens to be our chairman also of this Chaudhary Param Prakash Society Hospital. So when he asked me, can you do this? I said, sir, I will try my level best, but please do not delete our name from the list. I want to work. I want to serve the nation. I want to serve the people who are in need of that. So, likewise, as Dr. Patil was very much correctly saying that Corona is such a name that people think that Corona means death. In some days, we are going to die. There is nothing else we can look forward to. So, whenever first patient was admitted 18th April in our center. Unfortunately, that was a very rainy night. A thunderstorm was there in Delhi, and suddenly we got the news that first patient is coming. Every setup was new, everything was new, and me and my additional director, Professor Dr. N.R. Singh, who is the nodal officer of this work, we ran to the hospital both, and by 11:30 he reached the patient and admitted her in the ward. From the second day, there started a line of patients, and I'm happy to tell you that until today, we have admitted and treated 156 corona positive patients. We have made three-layered system of wards. First layer, the innermost layer, is the doctor and staff who are wearing PP. As Dr. Patil again correctly said, that there was a scarcity of PP and other equipments in the first phase. But later on, we, as being the autonomous body, I purchased it through our own funds, through our own grants, and I have made it available to the innermost layer people who are working in all the three, like house keeping and nursing and attendants and doctors. Then there is a middle layer which works as a uh, communication layer. That means they are uh, uh, telling and informing one innermost layer to the outermost layer, and the outermost layer sitting outside informs the same to us, to the task force, which is created of 7 to 8 people of high cadre professionals of Ayurveda who are teachers of our own institute. And we take accordingly the note of it and we dissolve the problem. So likewise, we are uh, doing the work. One more thing I want to tell, that our institute is lacking, because it's a new institute and a farly situated institute, is lacking in many facilities. We don't have a telephone as yet over here. But now, by personal mobiles, by layering this in 3 layers, we are managing the services, and now the system is on auto mode. There is not requirement of much of interference from the administration. Now, about the patients, as everyone thinks in the world, and everyone thinks about any disease, that it is dreadful, and corona is the most dreadful name as on today in this area of the ailment. So whenever patients are coming to us, I have seen through videos, video clips, they are entering. They are like entering like very goats like inside the tunnel that we are going to kill to be killed, and they are so much of depressed, and they are sitting very calmly on their beds, not into saying anything, not telling anything, or depressed. So I thought something has to be done in this regard. Delhi government already has established a program in hospitals, that is happiness therapy. Happiness therapy is nothing like anything which makes you happy. So we have selected the wards. Total 6 wards are there, 3 female, 3 male wards. So we have selected the temperament of the patients. Those where the males were admitted, they were a kind of strong people who are sitting on the beds. They preferred some Daler Mehndi music to become happy. So 10 minutes was given to that. Some ladies, they prepare Ekonkar Satnam, the same was given to that. Some prefer pranayam yoga. Every day, all the 6 wards are getting done by pranayama and some kind of onkar or some kind of breathing therapies regularly in our wards. Somewhere we performed laughter therapy, a simple joke. We started laughing, and then the people go on laughing. And I tell you that within 3 to 4 days of total admission of any person, his temperament, his or her temperament, we saw as changing to a normal person who is laughing, who is eating, who is having all his day and contributing and telling and helping others. So this hospital or whatever the out of 270 we have given one, that is 111 beds to Corona. So these 111 beds have become a family kind of person, and people are rejecting to go from here. They are saying that no, let us make us double negative, and then only we'll go. This is, we feel that this is our family. Now about documentation, it is very required, as Dr. Manjunath said, that we lack in documentation, we lack in all the standardized processes of research. So we are keeping the documents from day one. I am very happy to say that out of 156 patients, 37 we have treated double negative, that is corona free, only with Ayurvedic medicine. Around 80 to 85 people are discharged after becoming single negative, because government policies have changed and now they are not asking us to keep the patients for double negative. They are saying that send them for home isolation. So we are sending them for home isolation, and 80 have become negative, positive to negative, and 13 only patients were referred to LNJP hospital for allopathy supplements or the requirement due to breathlessness or something, or as Dr. Patil has said, mostly the aged people they were, and rest of them are till today. We are admitting 36 patients which are there who are otherwise hearty in the but still corona positive, and we are working on that. So this is a brief about our system. At the end, let me tell that what we have used. Many Ayurvedic people or many doctors try to hide the things what they are giving. I am against it. I am open what we are giving. We are giving nothing but the very time tested and very well known medicines only, which are given in the protocol of Ayush Ministry of Ayush Government of India. The first one is Sanshamanivati, that is the extract of giloy, that is guduchi, the uh, the herb which is rasayan, a rejuvenation herb, which works. Tinea cordifolia is the name, botanical name of the same, and this this herb, I can tell you, works wonders in many ailments and including respiratory illnesses. So this Sanshamanivati is the tablet, the extract of this Tinea cordifolia, the heart-shaped plant. Second, we are giving Nagaradi Kashaya. Nagaradi Kashaya, that means Nagara is Shunthi. Shunthi is ginger officinal, that is the saunt which we use, dry ginger in everyday recipes also. And that is Nagara, and Adi means etc. That is Haritaki and Guduchu again. So Haritaki is the Rasayan Kalpa again, rejuvenation. And I will say that there is a sutra in Ayurveda that Yasya Mata Gruhe Nasti, Tasya Mata Haritaki. That means the person or the boy or the small child, girl, whose mother is not at home, if he is or she is alone, then Haritaki can be considered as his mother. That means so many are the benefits of this herb, and that is added in Nagaradi Kashaya, and again the Gilo is the third content. So very simple formulation of this Kashaya. We prepare at our own department. 3 times fresh it is prepared, 3 times fresh it is provided, 50 ml, 30 to 50 ml to all the patients, morning, noon and evening. After that, as per the recommendation, we are Amalaki Churna, that is Aula, Amalaki powder, that is 3 grams per day as a medicine to uh, boost the patients with vitamin C, which is required to cover up this respiratory illness. And plus that, as per Ayush Ministry's guidelines, we are giving turmeric milk, golden latte or golden milk in the night as the supplement. Plus good food is given, happiness therapy is given, and I'm happy to share that we are doing likewise. This is the first Ayurveda institute in India who has taken the challenge to contribute in the field of corona, and with the blessings of all of you, we are so far uh, successful in the part. Later part of research part, I will be contributing with you when we will be reaching certain uh, number or the some kind of final conclusion. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Wonderful, Dr. Vidula. I think all the participants will be so happy to listen to you because you have made two things very clear. Number one, when you have some kind of an inferiority complex with respect to delivering services with Indian systems of medicine as the mainstream. And number two, that to a condition like COVID. Okay, so there is a kind of inferiority complex in handling common health problems themselves. But here is an infectious condition where nothing is known, everything is something to be tried. But you have gone to the scriptures, you have gone to the classical methods very strongly, and you have demonstrated that you just follow the simplest norms given. Probably we can handle most of the issues, including corona. And second thing you also said, I was about to ask you this question, but you answered it while narrating that that experience. Truly, it is something like that stigma attached with corona today. Like it is something like everybody would like to see if somebody who has come out of or who is corona positive walking, they want to look at them as some specimens. Okay, so very unfortunate that we have created a stigma along with this. So you have removed that stigma not only with your staff but also in the nearby surroundings. So I can understand the villagers when they were questioning you. Really probably they have spent few sleepless nights because they had those worries that this doctor not only making herself, putting herself into trouble, she is putting all of us into trouble. Probably this is what their thought
Right.
at that time. So really, thank you very much for that amazing experience and actually bringing the true science behind Ayurveda. which we can apply it to corona. So now I would like to move to our third panelist. After listening to two doctors, let us listen it from a yoga practitioner. So imagine Dr. Patil, he had an experience of his lifetime because he has suffered and he has gone through the journey of corona himself. But in the case of Mrs. Sunita, not only herself, her whole family turned corona positive. So imagine the challenge and the kind of stress what probably she would have gone through. So just to introduce you, Mrs. Sunita, she is a blessed mother with two children, and she has added mobility to elderly by serving through the Department of Transportation, and moved to yoga, and presently a qualified yoga teacher with Vyasa Canada and Vishwa, and under the guidance of Swami Satyaprakash ji and Dr. Preeti in Vancouver. And she is a wonderful social worker, most humble and simple individual. And the question, one thing which again and again comes to many individuals' mind is that that thought of corona was worrying. But what came to your mind when you first heard that you are COVID positive? How was your journey? Can you? We don't want to make you remember those toughest days, but can you just narrate that toughest day for you? And what was your routine and the role of yoga or anything else you have followed? And how do you give whom do you give the credit of your recovery? So let us listen from Ms. Sunita from Vancouver.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Manjunath ji, for letting me be here and tell about my experience with COVID. And thank you, Dr. Patil, and thank you, what was the name? But anyways, let's, to go back with it, I'm still suffering with it. I'm still not over the emotion part of it because my kids were involved in it. So it's hard for me to talk about it, but how it happened is like, I don't know how I got it, but I was going with the seniors and hospitals and doctor visits a lot. And it started just like sinus for me. The first day I felt like I'm having sinus, and then I was taking sinus pills. The second day I was having fever. The first few days I didn't even know that I have COVID, and I was around kids because over here in Canada, in BC that time, it wasn't that popular. Not very many cases were going on. So we were just having fun here. Like nothing was affected much. On March 14th, the social distance started, and that's when our yoga studios, all small business closed down. And then we took it seriously, and I think it was too late for me to take it seriously. And I got sick on 23rd of March and got tested on 25th. I got the result just 2 days after. Like doctors there said that at that time it was so fresh for us about COVID. I was following about it, but we were not. I was in a denial. Like it's not gonna happen. Our medical team is so good, and everything is so good over here, and it's not gonna happen to me, kind of thing was there. None of our drivers got it. None of our friends or family has it. So how come I got it? Was the question. And when I found out I was positive, it was grieving. It was real grief for me. Like it was deadly at that time. Everywhere you hear is people dying. Everything was just scary that moment, and I lost the moment of it. And just after talking to my doctor, and he explained to me what to do, he just told me basically rest, and he told me not to take any pills. They didn't want to suppress my cough and my fever. And then at that moment, it's just like what to do when a doctor tells you just rest and and take care of yourself, drink lots of hot water and nothing much. And then I called Dr. Swami Satya Prakash ji and Dr. Preeti ji. I will give a lot of credit to them if they kind of control the situation at that moment, because I was crying like somebody died already. I thought like my kids came at first in my mind, like how am I going to handle this? I'm positive. And the doctor said everyone in the house is positive now, because I was mingling around them. We were doing everything. And after that, it was just what happened was that from there, the doctors, Swamiji took the situation very, very, very well. He told me not to cry. First thing he told me not to cry. And when I was crying, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't do anything. He told me to do neti pot, which to keep my nostril clear, and the foods he guided for me. And my best thing was the pranayams that I was doing. He asked me to do the Omkara with the end of Brahmari. So it starts with a long deep inhale, and then hold it for whatever seconds you can hold. At that time, I couldn't hold any seconds. And I was just like, when the kids are sick and they're just doing Brahmari, I was just doing, and I was telling the kids to do the same thing from one room to another. And we were texting each other on text messages. And when my daughter, it was hard. And then how yoga kind of took my life over was that I was doing lots of Brahmari, Ujjayi breath, and I was watching lots of Swamiji's live music. I was addicted to that, to his music at that time. The fever was high, the coughs and everything, and I was bed rested for almost a week. I was in bed, I couldn't move, and the moral support from my yoga group, YIC group, I got, that made me to move on and fight my body, that made me to calm my mind down and do things differently than just thinking like, oh, COVID is a deadly virus here that will kill me and my kids. And after that, it just, everything fall in place. And the food Swamiji advised me to eat was khichdi with lots of ghee. And he told me to drink lots of hot water and ginger. He told me to, I'm forgetting right now, I'm so nervous. Haldi, turmeric with warm water and milk at the same time. And whatever I heard from doctors here right now, they did in the hospital, which I practiced it on myself and my family. So repeating after them is when they were telling me, I felt like, oh my God, I was their patient over here, which they were trying to do the music, the laughter, the happiness. My kids were, singing from the rooms. They will be singing, like they will be calling each other, like, COVID family, wake up. There was no time or anything. But being with the yoga asanas I did, lying down, so many asanas I was doing, like spinal twist, legs and arms stretch and all those kind of little things. For first week, I couldn't do anything. Second week, I started doing a little bit. I have a little dog too that motivated me too to get up and go do things around, going up and down the stairs. Basically, that's all I did. And what I suggest is for people to practice yoga, and yoga is the science of emotion that really kept me and my mind calm down, and to keep control of the situation and to keep control of my family and help them to get better and do things differently than panicking. And yoga has proven that it can be, any disease can be prevented, and stay positive. Pranayam helped me.
Wonderful. So we are very happy to see that cheer in you, smile in you, and the happiness. Okay, because finally, what yoga teaches is to remain in the state. Okay. And the whole journey, what you have explained of staying in a home and each one staying in one room, and each one has got an inhibition not to move out. Now, each one has got a restriction not to do certain things. So we can understand the kind of complexity with which the number of days all of you have lived. But we congratulate you that not only yourself, but you have brought in this culture of lifestyle, yogic lifestyle to the whole family, whereby whatever you are doing along with taking medicines and other things, probably a good lifestyle, yogic lifestyle, has facilitated the functioning or the effects of these medicines better. So it's really hard at times to accept. And only one question, probably this is something which many would like to know, is that I know there was an element of fear, but when is that, which day you actually felt that I'm fine now? So nothing is going to happen to me. Nothing serious is going to happen to my health. So when you are going through, was that physical symptoms which made you feel, or mentally and psychologically you felt that now you have that courage to handle it? So when was that?
It was mentally first that when I talked to Swamiji, Dr. Satyaprakash, that was the moment that kind of gave me hope. And when I talked to you, Dr. Manjunathji, that was the biggest hope too. And when I was listening to the news, I stopped listening to the news, but when I was going on YouTube and watching Dr. Adrian again's videos, there was big hope at that moment when when Swamiji said, and like, it was the mind that calmed me down after listening to you all. That was the time that I felt like there is hope. And then after 2 weeks, that my body kind of told me like, yeah, it's almost over. But I had lung issues before, and that kind of damaged a little bit of my lungs right now, that I'm still having hardness, like shortness of breath when I talk a lot or when I do things with any task. But right after talking to Swamiji and Dr. Preeti, I really felt like there is hope there. And when I started practicing and when I started breathing, and when my daughter and my son was crying that they can't breathe, when I was telling them to do pranayams, omkaras, ujjayi breath, and brahmari, when I called them back in few minutes, they were fine. They were like, I'm okay, mom, and that was the hope, that like, that's when I felt like, yes, we're not gonna die anymore. And then that's when the kids felt it too, and they're younger, so their body took it very well. I think I'm getting on the older side, so my body took it a little longer, but my mind was still with the kids, and in 2 weeks of time we were feeling much better.
Wonderful. So that's the stories for us, for all the participants, to take those take-home messages that COVID may be one such episode which we are going through. So probably there could be several such occasions where we need to actually act much more sensibly, much more in a matured way, and much more being educated and handle them much more successfully. Dr. Patil, it was always a kind of a question which was coming to my mind when we had some discussions on understanding the underlying mechanisms. So you are a wonderful educator. So you have posted several videos on explaining what this COVID is all about and what exactly happens when individuals move from a pneumonia to acute respiratory distress syndrome. And what is that which actually makes them fatal? So if you can just give, for the benefit of our participants today, that mechanism which COVID, which people are still exploring, but
yeah.
you had a wonderful understanding about it. So, Dr. Patil, please.
Yeah, see, basically, let me tell you, whenever somebody gets COVID-19, we classify them into 5 categories. One is a mild category. First is asymptomatic category, mild category, moderate category, severe category, and critically ill category. Now, asymptomatic, a large chunk of people can be asymptomatic, which is they just simply carry corona and keep giving it to others, and they may experience very few symptoms. And the mild categories, they might have something like flu-like illness and goes. Moderate category is where, yes, they become ill, like fever, sweats, and everything, and they go to hospital and they get tested positive. Now, the severe and the critical categories, these are the people who, severe category is one who develop a pneumonia, and the critical category is the one who develops a pneumonia and requires a ventilator. So 95% of the patients are in asymptomatic, mild or moderate category, and they don't require any hospital admission. They recover on their own. All they need is supportive care and making sure, of course, they distance from other people, and they stay away from everyone so that they don't spread the disease. That's required. And these 5% category, as I said, of the 5%, only 4% of them are severe, which they develop severe pneumonias. They require oxygen. They require antibiotics. They require hospital admission. 1%, yes, they develop critically ill. They need ventilator. They need ECMO and all those things. Now, the thing is that the main transition happens is between developing a pneumonia and developing a ARDS. So if I can just explain in very simple words how the COVID-19 affects, everybody must know, right? We all know that it spreads through a droplet, okay? A droplet or a surface contact. So either you inhale a droplet or you touch a droplet that has been fallen on the floor, and you touch your hands and you touch your face with your hand, and your droplet is into your respiratory tract. Now, it affects the respiratory cells, a particular type of cell called as a type 2 pneumocyte, and then it enters, it destroys the type 2 pneumocyte, which produces an important liquid called surfactant. Surfactant reduces the surface tension in the lungs, and when the surface tension in the lung is increased, the lung becomes stiff and hard. In other words, it's very simple. What was a easy balloon, easy inflatable balloon, becomes a difficult inflatable balloon. It's just like you're trying to blow an empty balloon versus a balloon which is full of water. So that's exactly the lungs do. When you have stiff lungs, then you don't pump enough oxygen into your circulation, you become hypoxic. And then when you have lots of secretions that is accumulating in the lungs, which is the fluid, when it's just these secretions are exactly like fluid in the balloon, which is not making the balloon blow. So the lungs go stiff and you develop ARDS. To prevent this, I think, a kumbhakam or, any kind of pranayama which brings all the secretions out is extremely vital. And that is when one of the things I can say is I give the credit to Guruji and Manjunathji for helping me to come out of this, because the kumbhakam which you taught me really helped to bring all the secretions. And every day I used to get at least a bowl full of secretions, and sometimes it used to be full of blood, and that really helped. So in a nutshell, the whole challenge for a patient is making sure he doesn't develop a pneumonia. The way you prevent yourself from developing a pneumonia is bringing all the sputum out. And if you are obese, or if you are a smoker, it becomes difficult and you are more likely to develop a pneumonia. So the whole idea is, if you are healthy, if you are eating a healthy diet, if you are maintaining a healthy lifestyle, you are highly unlikely to die of a COVID-19 illness.
There's one more question to you, Dr. Patil. Somebody would like to know whether you have tried any Ayurveda or homeopathic medicine other than whatever you have done So you have answered it, but if you have any,
No, I have not. The thing is, I have the medicines which I took. I'm very happy to tell what they were. See, I took 2 tablets of paracetamol 4 times a day, 1 gram 4 times a day. I took amoxicillin 500 milligrams 4 times a day. I took clarithromycin 500 milligrams BD, and somebody from India had some spare chloroquine. I tried some hydrochloroquine also. Those are, and then I hydrated myself. These are the treatments I took.
wonderful. So, Dr. Vitula, like you have given a wonderful protocol for the management of corona. Somebody has a question. Considering that Ayurveda has all the possibilities of handling a condition like this, can the production of Ayurveda medicine be made global? Because the question is related, though we may not follow the principles of herb collection and preparation as suggested in Ayurveda. So, can we make the production global? Is one question. Would you like to, if you would like to answer?
Yeah, actually, as per the need of the hour, it is, I think, required. I'm audible, please.
Yeah. Please go on.
It is required to make this Ayurveda therapy global in real sense, that actually using the medicines in all the countries. But it depends upon the policy decision, I think, and that is being taken care by the Ministry of Ayush. And many countries are, as I know, that giving permissions to use certain drugs, but as real and standard, that means textual Ayurveda is not yet reached to all the world, and that is the real requirement. I suppose that was the question.
Yeah. There's also another question. Somebody would like to know that how about the complaints? So whether when you tried with initially few patients and now you are reached it to bigger number, so whether everybody took the medicines with complete acceptability, or was there any resistance for the use of Ayurvedic medicines?
Yeah, basically, for any medicine, any person has a kind of resistance that nobody wants to take medicine. But and especially about the taste of the decoction, that the kadha we are giving, there was a kind of rejection, a very slight level in initial stages, that isse kya hoga, ye kyun de rahe ho, why you are giving this to us. But later on, when people, I think with the additional therapies that I have explained already, when people came out of that depression and negativity and become positive towards life, the acceptance to the medicine also increased. And as I'm saying that, we are admitting mild to moderate cases over here. As being Ayurveda hospital, we are not supplied with ventilator facility. So up to moderate level also, we have seen that transfer from mild to moderate, moderate to severe has been ceased by this medication. And when patients saw them themselves amongst other people admitted in the ward, the acceptance has increased so much that now they start calling that why decoction is not served as yet. It is already 8 in the morning. So now they are accepting it like that.
Wonderful. And another associated question is, how many of them demanded for conventional medicine? How many of them, were there any people who are asking that, why are you not giving us allopathy medicine?
Yes, it was a demand not from patients mainly, it was a demand from the surrounding areas who were not actually in this COVID. They were making their eyebrows high, that are you not giving this? Are you not using hydroxychloroquine? And then what will happen if some patient goes into? So that was again the additional pressure on me, because I was also very new in this area, and as all the doctors of world, I was also not knowing what will happen. But still I said that let us keep the faith and try with our own medicines. See, Dr. Manjunath ji, what I want to say that as the first question related, that why the production of supply of Ayurvedic medicine is not global. What I say that Ayurveda is not a medicine distributing science. Ayurveda is a science of life. So that life adaptation, the style of living, if it is adopted by the whole world, half the world is prevented from the disease, and there won't be much need of medication. So likewise, for using these mainstream medicines was the stress from the other fields, from other people outside the COVID. Patients were so stressed, they just took the medicine, and now we are seeing the results. But also those who were hypertensive, those who were diabetics, we kept their regular medicine on with this. We did not stop it.
No, you said it well, because Ayurveda, in the previous webinar also we had the same discussion, because today Ayurveda has been brought down to depicting something like allopathy by giving medicines. Okay, so any treatment means you have to give 1, 2, 3, 4 number of medicines.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of them.
Lot of them. So unfortunately, the other important aspects, the lifestyle part of it, and many other prescriptions. So you are talking about dinacharya, rutucharya. So lots of them have not been followed. And I'm afraid, as somebody asked this question, globalization of Ayurveda. So people probably look at only the pharma part of Ayurveda,
Yeah, yeah,
nothing beyond that. So
yeah.
then this
Which
has
is
to be
not the real
taken.
Ayurveda. Yes, yes.
This
And
certainly.
let me, please give me 1 second.
Yeah,
There
please.
is one collection like called as Agrasangra in our text. That Agrasangra means what is the most triggering point of everything. That collection is given in our Sanhitas. So in that chapter, it is said that Vishado Rogavardhananam Sreshta. That means what causes the increase of any disease is the mental depression or sadness. Vishad is to worry about the thing. So if we are able to remove that worry or that depression from the mind of a patient of any kind, not only of COVID, then, and if we are able to prevent the causes from which the disease is actually getting inside the body, then we are half done with the treatment. There is no need of much of medication. So that must be remembered by all of us.
Very well said. I think there were, apart from talking about COVID, we had lots of wonderful messages today. And particularly, there's another question to Ms. Sunita. So the question is all about your other things, like how much of conventional medical treatment you were on, and whether the withdrawal from the medication was on your own or it was supervised by medical fraternity.
The coastal health was calling me almost every day to check on me, and they asked me not to take any pills. They didn't want me to take any pills, but I went against them. I told the nurses that I'm gonna take, because one day I didn't take the pills. I was taking Buckley that has sinus and cold. That was my every year kind of thing for my sinus seasonal allergies, and that has cough and fever in it too. So I was taking that before I knew that I was positive, and they asked me not to take it. So I stopped taking it for one day, and my fever and my cough was just overwhelming, and my kids were coughing at the same time, and their fever was really going high. So the nurse called me the next day, that night before I gave the pills to the kids, and my son took Tylenol and I took Buckley. So I went against the nurses that I'm taking it no matter what you have to say, because the fever was going high and the cough was really getting worse. So when I saw that it was working, so I kept the kids on it, and I took myself, and my husband took it too. So that was the only help from Coastal Health, but they were really checking on us and telling us what to do, what not to do. But I feel like I went against them, and I took most of the advice from Dr. Satyaprakash Swamiji and Dr. Preeti and talking to you. So most of the things were mostly was Ayurvedic stuff. Dr. Swami also told me to take was a Chyawanprash, amla powder with hot water, warm water. And he also told me to take baking soda with warm water. So I was taking that once or twice a week. So that kind of, all those home remedies really work. And the steaming, when I was boiling water for my thermos, the steam that I was inhaling from my mouth and exhaling out my nose, and inhaling from nose, exhaling out mouth. So those kind of really helped me with the home remedies. And what Dr. is saying over there, that what she did in the hospital, I was doing at home. Most of the things I was doing that she's telling, that they did it at the Ayurvedic hospital there, which I was practicing and doing it at home. And I was guided by Dr. Swami, Dr. Satyaprakash Swamiji and Dr. Preeti. So if they were not there, I was lost. I was totally lost. I gave hope the first day I found out, like, no, there's no chance. And my kids, it's still overwhelming. So yeah.
Wonderful. Dr. Patil, there's another question for you. Somebody would like to know, like, if is the healthcare, the NHS, open for any of other interventions? So, I mean, we are talking in India about Ayurveda, yoga, naturopathy, and Siddha medicine, and even maybe Unani, Sauringpa, etc. So, somebody would like to know how acceptable it is when you consider the conventional healthcare system.
Let me tell you the thing. I have a lot of respect for Ayurveda, and allopathy respects Ayurveda a lot. Like digitalis, which we use for heart failure, it comes from something called foxglove, which is Dr. Vidula can tell, it's a herb. The thing is, what Britain says is, we need, if you say something works, you have to prove that it works. If you can't prove that it works, we cannot give it to the whole community, simply because it may not be effective, it may be dangerous also. So you have to prove it by conducting randomized control trials. If you can prove that something works by conducting a scientific, honest, randomized control trial, yes, definitely. You, not only UK, all over the world, everyone will accept it.
No, there's an additional question to it. Like somebody is asking, for example, it is fair in saying that we need to bring in evidence-based approach.
Yeah.
But probably, as I said, Dr. Vidula is one such lucky person who had an opportunity to treat these kind of patients. So there are many Ayurveda practitioners, yoga naturopathy physicians, even maybe Siddha and Unani, other practice, and homeopathy. So they would like to actually conduct some trial and generate evidence and to publish and to say, bring out its efficacy. But unfortunately, the system is in such a way that it is like a chicken and egg kind of a situation. So unless you have an evidence, you will not get patients. Your ethics committees won't approve it, you to handle those patients. And unless you have the evidence, you start experimenting, you will never generate that evidence. So this kind of a problem is there with many practitioners, is what being said. So, Dr. Vidula, how do we resolve?
Answer just a little bit further, Mojada. Sorry, 1 minute. The thing is, you see, you don't need to go to the British Ethics Committee, okay? You can approach the Indian Ethics Committee, take an approval for a randomized control trial. I'm sure there is more encouragement for yoga, Ayurveda, and naturopathy, especially under the current leadership of Modi ji. Conduct a fair randomized control trial and then come out with results to prove that that particular drug. It could be Siddhi, it could be Unani, it could be homeopathy. It works. If you can prove it works, then a whole world will take it. What is not acceptable is just somebody coming out of the blue and saying, okay, look, this is the herb. This herb can cure corona. This herb can cure HIV. You know, you have a lot of this fraudulent activity in India, especially in India. The thing is, it's very difficult to distinguish between what is fraud and what is real. If we Indians, I'm a proud Indian, if we Indians can conduct proper randomized control trials and prove to the outside world, look, this works, the world will accept us.
Yeah, I also would like to take opinion of Dr. Vidula, because you are in the same field, and I'm sure, except for COVID, you might have faced this problem in many occasions. For example, you are right, Dr. Patil, that we need to do these trials and we have to demonstrate it. For example, I mean, I'm sharing my personal experience that I'm waiting till today to get an approval to introduce yoga to patients of corona in India.
Oh,
Okay.
that's very unfortunate.
So this is the situation where we know that there is no medication we are giving, some simple relaxation, breathing based practices which can help these people. Dr. Vidula has tried it and she has seen the amazing results. But unfortunately, the system has to really become a little more open in allowing such things which have least issues, okay, least problems.
Absolutely.
So, Dr. Vidula, please.
Dr. Manjunath, I'm in full agreement with you, because as like you, the same thing, randomized control single arm study, which I want to conduct, and till today, as I said, 156 patients we have admitted to, but our own ethical committee is not giving us permission to do that, and due to which we could not register our project with CTRI. So my opinion is very much like this: when the area is new, when something new is coming, these hurdles shall be somewhere restricted or changed, unless and until that we cannot go further for any study. We are not able to prove ourselves what we are giving. And it is completely correct that without proving ourselves, one must not say that this is Ayurvedic or this is homeopathic or this is something kind of a medicine for this. I am also not claiming what I have said, that we are trying in this area. And as soon as we come up with some real research after the permissions of so many bodies and this thing, I really hope it would come sooner than expected. And then only I will come in front of you that this is the result. And believe me, if it comes like nothing has worked, I will put like that. And there is no effect of this thing on this. Or if there is effect, then only I will come up with the result.
You are right. True research always should be talking about what we see. Okay, it is nothing to do with the hypothesis. So always, that's why researchers have been asked to follow a null hypothesis, whereby you don't have any bias, and you need to have an hypothesis, but you should not have any bias to prove that whatever you have said is always right. So we have come to the last part, and before we close, I would request all the three panelists within 30 seconds to 1 minute time to give that important take-home message for all the participants, which you think is very important. Dr. Patil, please.
Friends, COVID-19 is an illness, but it's not such a deadly illness. Okay, if you could adhere yourself to a good lifestyle, if you could maintain social distancing, wash your hands, you don't have to worry. And even if you unfortunately caught up with COVID illness, that's not the end of the world. Only less than 2% of the people who get COVID illness die, and if you take early treatment and if you follow all the measures quite early, it's unlikely you will end up with any serious trouble. And then last but not least, one must be proud of our own Indian culture and heritage. And remember what Patanjali said in the Yoga Sutra, which is Panchaklesha. Remember that as long as you don't have Abhinivesha, you'll be fine.
Fantastic. So that's your take-home message, that you come out of that fear of death. Okay, so probably that's what all our Upanishadic teachings were. That's what Bhagavad Gita spoke about. So you gave that message, which the student asked the teacher, that
Yes.
you teach me that, knowing that I will know everything.
Yeah, the important shloka everyone must remember is that, your soul never dies, Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, nachainam kledayantyapi, nashoshayati maruta. So as long
Maruta.
as you remember this, your faith remains strong and you will come out of Corona.
We are so proud of you, Dr. Patil. The sloka from Bhagavad Gita talking about this body is just like a cloth.
Yeah.
Just you keep changing them. So because soul is all that which is permanent, which cannot be destroyed by anything. So you put it as the take-home message. Wonderful.
And faith
Thank you
wins
very
over
much.
any hurdle in this world. That's true. Faith, if you have faith, you will win.
Dr. Vidula, please, your take-home message.
Yeah, I have told everything about Ayurveda and medicines, but as a teacher of Ayurveda and as a person living on this earth, I will give this message that keep the trust whatever you are learning. Keep faith in your science, your Indian culture, and plant at least 2 trees in your lifetime. Do not only depend on the medicine and ventilators and antibiotics and kashaya and churna. Look at the mother earth, that what corona has taught us today, that what we have to do, how we have to behave, how we have to change ourselves. It is just the high time. Every small and big is infected with the same urgency. So my take home message is only that remain a human being and be a human being to all the world. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. One doctor from London talking about Bhagavad Gita, while another doctor from India talking about Sanatana Dharma. So you treat everything equally and then believe in coexistence. Wonderful,
Right.
Dr. Vidula. So, Ms. Sunita, we would like to hear from you, and what is the take-home message you would like to give us?
Well, Dr. Patil said a lot about Bhagavad Gita and stuff, and it is so true. Being a yogic myself, I always see yoga as a science. It's not just about body. You have to set your mind first to it. To fight this virus, you really have to be in control of your mind. And another thing I would like to add is my favorite mantra was Nirvan Satkam. That was Mano Buddha. Ahankar. Sorry. It means like we're not the body. We're not the. It tells a lot about it. It says, which tells us that we are not the mind, intellect, ego, and memories. We are not the sense of organs, ears, tongues, nose, eyes, and skin. We are not elements either. We are just a success if you really see it that way in yourself, that you can do it. We are I am Shiva kind of thing. You think about yourself, and then only way to stay calm and take control of your mind. And with this COVID thing, I have learned a lot that when I was locked in my room and when my kids were in their room, that's when I realized, koi kisi ka nahi hai. So that way, it's a good lesson for everybody to learn. Social distance really helps. Like we still do that in the house. Like my daughter, my son, they still kind of like we keep it. And they told me if I go back to work, don't come back home. They don't want to go through that again. It was a very hard experience that I say and pray that no one has to go through it.
Wonderful.
Thank you all.
No, today is something special. Okay, all three panelists ending and giving the take-home messages with the greatest spiritual messages. So one talking about Bhagavad Gita, another Sanatan Dharma, and the third one bringing Adi Shankara into picture. So we're talking about Nirvana Shataka. So probably final goal you have given, Nirvana. So Nirvana as said by Adi Shankara, whether it is Kaivalya as said by Patanjali or Bhagavan Buddha said it. So various means, various methods to remain happy, to remain healthy, and to remain fit and safe. So that's the message from today's webinar. I request our Director of Expo Mart, Vikas ji, to give the closing remarks.
I think she's.
Do we have
He's
Vikas?
not available, sir. Sir, may I?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Manju sir, Vidula ma'am, Sunita ma'am, and Dr. Neeraj Patil sir for a wonderful webinar. Next week, we will come up with some new and relevant topic also. Thanks. Have a happy and safe weekend. Namaskar.
Thank you. I also thank Rakesh Kumar ji, who is the chairman of India Expo Mart, the main person behind this whole idea. And also the whole team. Praveen ji is here, Tushar ji is here, Niranjan ji is here. And there are many more people behind the screen who are supporting this webinar. And all the participants, participants here are not students, are not just common individuals. For the benefit of panelists I'm mentioning, we have some CEOs of companies as participants today. We have very many practitioners of Ayurveda, senior most practitioners of Ayurveda, yoga and naturopathy practitioners and students, and from various disciplines of Ayush, and people from the industry, people from both government and private sector. Many are there today. They have gone through. I thank all of you for participating. Hope today's session has given that insight which all of us wanted to have, because we know Corona, we don't know what it is. And today's panelists made us know what that Corona is. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll close the session with a Shanti Mantra. Sarve bhavantu sukinaha, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a
Thank you.
happy and safe week. We'll meet again next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.